Hello everyone, this is Darth Babe 96 from the JK Hub, and today I will be doing a tutorial on how to convert skins from Jedi Outcast or Jedi Academy and making them compatible for Jedi Knight or Mysteries of the Sith. The two main programs we'll be using will be Milkshape 3D and Zed. Milkshape 3D you get online at a website called Chumbalumsoft. URL is milkshape3d.com, easy enough. It does cost money though. It's $35 I think. But yeah, I'm sorry. It's an alright program. I think it's a little overpriced, but it does do support for a lot of games. So I guess that counts. The other program, Zed, you can download for free on the JK Hub. You just go to Tools, and it should be near the top, I think. Yep, Zed. And there's older versions, which are called Jed and yada yada. Okay, well, let's get started. Today we're going to be converting a Ayla Sakura model. Nothing special about it, just looked easy enough to do. Should be quick and easy for a tutorial. I was originally going to do a Juno Eclipse model that was for Jedi Academy, but I downloaded the files and it ended up not being Juno Eclipse. It was some weird model, so unfortunately we can't do that. So the first thing we do is we open the pack 3 and we find all the texture files and model files in here. There's only one model file actually, but I used a program called Packscape to open these up. It's a good program. So what you want to do is select all of the textures that you need. There should only be certain ones we need, so I'll select those and get the model out, and this will take a second. Hold on. Okay, so they're all in this folder now. It's called Juno. I know that's what I named the folder because I thought I'd be doing Juno anyways. So the texture files here, those actually all have to be 256 by 256 pixels. No bigger, no smaller, or else it will mess up the texture coordinates for Jedi Knight. You can change them later if they are bigger than 256, but that has to be after you save the 3D file and it works in the game. So you can do that easily by opening them in Microsoft Paint and pushing Control W. And I think these are 1024 by 1024, so if we do 25%, that should, yep, 256. Okay, then you just save. I'll do that with the rest real quick. Okay, so now the textures are resized. I'm going to import the model.glm into Milkshape. Now hopefully, since the textures and the model file are in the same folder, they'll import together. So we'll see. So go to File, Import, and we find Ghoul2 model GLM, and there it is right in our folder. So we import materials, yada yada, import, and there we go. There is our model. Now there's lots of stuff we have to do to it. So how we'd start doing this is we would check out all the groups we have. Okay, so we have hips. That actually is more than the hips, it's the thighs as well. So we're gonna have to select faces and separate those. So how you do this is you go to Model, well, deselect that group, go to Model and select and make sure it's on face. We don't want to ignore back faces right now, so we'll controls. Okay. So in order to zoom in, you can't be in select mode. So go out of select mode. Then you can zoom in, and for basic controls and how to use milk shape, if you don't know how to do that, you probably should learn that by watching some other tutorial. It's pretty easy to get the hang of though. Alright, so we select faces. Yeah, honestly, a lot of this is just getting used to how milk shape works. It's a little tricky selecting the right ones. So go to wireframe mode, and we got good ones for the most part. Hold on, let me do this. Ignore back faces. This allows us to select only the ones that are in front. And if you accidentally select something you don't want, that's fine. Just push Control Z. Okay. This is a little tedious. And the whole thing about converting these models is it's pretty easy. Once you get used to each step, it's just uber tedious. And it won't let me select. This is annoying. Okay, hold on. This tutorial is probably gonna end up being super long just because I can't select a face. Actually, no, I should have those selected. If I could see what I'm doing. See, this is why this program kind of stinks. It's so hard to select certain faces you want. We have all the faces we need selected, except those ones on top. Okay, we can do this. Okay, bingo 1, bingo 2, bingo 3, is that it? Hang on. Now we want those other ones. Bingo 4, oh, I don't want that other face. I don't want it. There we go. And there's actually another method you can do for selecting faces. It's kind of useful. It's by vertex. And if you do that and select a vertex, it'll select all the faces that use that vertice. So it's useful in that way. So yeah, once just got to be very precise with how you work this. And I think that's it. Wait, we got one back there. Got it. Okay. That should be all of them that I need. Wait, there's one up here I need. Oh no. Oh no, stop, stop, stop. Stop. Okay. I'm sure I sound hilarious right now. There we go. Got it. Okay. Now, once we have the group selected, we have to get the rest down here. Dang it. That's easier though, because a little shortcut we can do here is just select everything from the bottom there and then go to groups. And then that'd be the left leg, so select and then select again, and then deselects everything we don't want. That appears to be already capped. Strange. Huh. Well, kind of makes my job easier. That's cool. So once we have the thigh selected, we can hit regroup, and we'll name it K right thigh. Yeah, thigh. That's not how you spell thigh. There we go. I think that's how the meshes are named for the Kyle character, any kind of walk player. Okay, so hit rename, and there it is at the bottom. You can select it, and that's kind of handy. So do that with all the rest of the meshes so that they can be divided up into what's the right word? Just meshes that would match up, so that the joints would match up with, like, the Kyle model, for example, because it's going to be using the same keyframes. So we want all the joints to be able to line up. So that means we'd want to separate the leg from the foot by the ankle. So, and let's see if we have to do that. Yeah, so that's one mesh, the foot and the calf, so you'd have to separate those two, and just kind of repeat the whole process I did here for selecting that section of the model. And that's just kind of what you have to do over and over again to get each piece selected. And different meshes are harder to select than others select the right way, and sometimes you have to do weird tricks, which I'm not going to go into because it's too complicated, but it involves using Z, which is just too hard to explain. Anyways, I'm just trying to keep it simple, but I'll finish separating the meshes into their respective groups and then get back to you later. And for the left side, like the right side, which I haven't separated over here, you can just delete that entire side. So what we're going to end up doing is just doing the left side, capping it, and then creating a duplicate because it's symmetrical. Well, the leg is anyhow. Since the arm's not symmetrical, I will not be doing a duplicate of the arm. I will keep those their own. Anyways, I'll be back soon. Okay, so I've divided up all the meshes into their respective joints, whatever. Like, so we have the head here, and we actually, the helmet here, that's part of the head, but that's okay if they're two meshes, and we may have to divide them up even more, and I'll explain that a little bit later. But the rest of the meshes are all divided. We have the hips on their own, torso, yada yada. We have the neck, we have the thighs, the forearm, the shoulder. Anyway, you get the idea. So one thing we need to absolutely check is make sure that each mesh is below 512 polys, because that's the max number of polys Jedi Knight can handle per mesh in a model. So we do that by going to tools and going to cell poly count. This is a nice tool. So hips, that's good. Okay, so the torso is too much. We'll have to divide the torso in half. The head, oh gosh, that's gonna need lots of dividing. That's gonna need to be divided in half, and everything else should check out. Everything else should be too many. Okay, cool. Well, I will divide the the meshes that have too many polys into separate meshes so that that won't be a problem. So I'll do that real quick. Okay, so I divided them all up. The torso now has two parts, the upper part and the waist part. Yeah. And the face is all divided very well. I have two face pieces because most of the polys from the head mesh were coming from the face, so I had to divide that up into two sections, and the rest of it worked. And then that part I called dangle because I don't know what those things are, they dangle. Anyways, that's it for that for now. In milk shape, what we're actually going to be doing is selecting everything. Let's go to select group and select everything. Now, one thing that's actually important to do that we should have done a lot sooner is save, because if you don't save your work and something goes wrong, it's really bad. So there we go. Now we want to let's scale it down a little bit so it looks better in Z. We're going to scale it down by 1/20th, which is 0.05. Yeah. 0.05. Scale on all directions. Scale. And actually then go to move and do absolute. We want to center this thing. And now it goes down to the center. Okay. Now save again and export. Go down to the bottom. Zeiss 3D exporter. That allows us to export into 3D object for Jedi Knight format. So just save it as works for me. Dot 3D and save. Now I'm going to take all the texture files and save them as map files that Jedi Knight can read. So when we open up the model in Jedi Knight, they will all be there. Okay. So I'll do that real quick. Oh, and one thing that's important that I forgot to do before I saved to 3D, go to all the texture files and down by where it says rename, get rid of the .jpg extension and hit rename. This makes it so that when it saves it to the 3D model for Jedi Knight, the name of the texture files won't be all screwed up. I mean, you could fix them manually, but it's just something quicker to do. Alright, so I save the texture files. Now go to Z and File and Import. And now I have to forgo it, which is on my flash drive. Juno, and here it is. And there's the model we've been working on, and I don't know why the hips are dislocated, but No need to worry, I guess. All is well. Okay. So this part is actually the part where we're going to cap the joint. So we do this in Z, and then we'll put it back into milkshake to move stuff around and add the missing other side of the leg and hand, and then we'll go from there. So what we want to do is save as, and then in Juno you can save it as untitled if you want, or just save it as a .jid file in the Juno folder where mat is. So if you save it outside the folder where mat is, or in the same folder mat is, that's what I should say, then it will be able to find the texture files. And when you click F12 to do 3D preview, okay, stupid messages, everything will pop up just dandy. Okay, cool. Now, someone was nice enough to cap these already, so I don't have to worry about that. All I need to do is select the vertice by clicking V, which takes me to vertex mode, and moving it. Shift 2, Shift 3. Looks like there are all kinds of vertices there that I can select. So I'll click Alt, and bam, they're all multi-selected. And now we can move on, but we need to remove the snap to grid function. And we have it extrude out like this, so that it just looks better when we're done with the model, when it's in game. Normally I would fix those, but by using the stitch tool, doing this, Control plus insert, and then clicking on the other face and clicking insert. Normally I would do that on all of them, but I don't want to take all day, so that's good enough for me. Alright, now I need to show you how to create your own cap, and I'll do it on an arm joint to make it pretty simple. So we'll zoom out and we'll make the torso torso layer invisible, so hide. Then if we select this guy, that disappears. And the reason I exit out of 3D preview is because when I want to go back in, looks like that's part of that mesh. That's okay, it's not a big deal. That will end up, since the waist mesh and the torso mesh will end up moving along in the exact same places, that won't be a problem at all. Just try to avoid that, anyone who's watching this tutorial. Okay, so how we cap these is, it's kind of an interesting trick. So you go to vertex mode and you multi-select all the vertices in a clockwise fashion or counterclockwise fashion. It has to be in one of those orders so that the program knows whether to create a new surface facing inward or outward. It's kind of hard to explain, you'll get the idea. Anyways, it creates a non-planar surface, which we wouldn't like, but there we'll use the extrude feature that Zed has, and it will be able to fix that problem. Just watch. So go So multi-select all these, and do I still have that other one down there? Multi-selected. Okay, let's just make sure you don't have any others multi-selected. Make sure you get the vertices right around the edge. You kind of have to have an eye for it, which I've developed over time. You get used to looking at things in a weird way. Okay. Now that I have all those selected, I push Alt plus B, and that creates a face. Now, from what it appears, that face is facing inward, yep. So when it's brighter red, that means you're facing the surface. When it's darker red, that means you're not facing the surface. And I'll show you in the 3D preview. Stop popping up. Should be invisible, why aren't you? Anyways, so as you can see, we cannot see a face there. But if I click Alt plus I, which inverts it, and we go back to 3D preview, shabam, there it is. And normally the default texture would appear, which I can make it so it does. Okay, now it should appear. Or if I exit out again, it should appear. There we go. There it is. Alright. So what we will do now is we push the X button, that extrudes it, and we click S for sector mode. And to do this whole model conversion thing, you also have to have an idea of how to use Z as well. So you push the C for cleave tool, and you cut it across, and you take the farther out sector, push F9, oops, that's not F9, push F9, and change this to 0, click scale. So that scales that all the way down there. You can move this around, but we want it poking out a little bit for the joint. That looks fine. And then push delete, and that deletes the sector that was the size of 0. So now we have this cap sector. Sorry, I shouldn't be calling them sectors. That's like level editing terms. This program is mainly used for level editing, but it can be used for editing models. So we have this cap mesh and then the actual arm mesh. So you multi-select both and push the M button for merge. And that's pretty much the gist of it. Go around, do it with all the rest. It's a little tedious, which is why I'm gonna skip doing the rest of them, and I'll see you back when I'm done. Oh, one more thing. Go to 3D preview and texture in all these, and I don't know why this mesh isn't disappearing. It disappeared in the 2D preview. It doesn't disappear in the 3D preview. Anyways, normally it would disappear, but for some reason it's not. But anyways, go around and stitch. Go around and stitch that over the default mat on your joint caps. Go around and do that all. And that's all I have to say about that. And one more thing. I realized in order to get invisible layers to disappear in the 3D preview as well, go to Tools, Options, 3D Preview, and check this box. Okay, so I've excuse me, capped off all the meshes. I didn't do the hips though because when I moved the vertices up here, it actually messed up the texture coordinates on the hips, and I'll show you. So don't do that. So you can see they're kind of all wacko. And then there's one other important thing I forgot to mention. So with milkshape, every layer must use only one texture. A single layer can't have more than one texture applied to any of its surfaces. And so when I made the neck mesh, part of it came from the torso and part of it came from the head, and those two use different textures. So it ended up turning this little spot right here, this little section, ended up making it the same texture as the head texture and not the torso, so that's why it's weird. So that's something I'll just fix real quick once I'm finally done with the model, and I'll show you how to do that. It's no big deal, but just try to avoid that in the future. Try keeping those as separate meshes, so that the textures don't get messed up. Okay, so since the hips are all messed up, what I'm gonna have to do is go back to milkshape, and I'm actually, well, I'll just keep this saved, and then I'll actually open another window of milkshape, and then I'll import all the capping I've done in Z. So we have to select all the meshes and file export sector as 3D. So we'll do something weird because I don't want exactly the same as that. And go to milkshape file, go to import. Jedi Knight 3D. So keep that checked. I guess keep everything checked, really. Actually, uncheck materials, because either way it's not going to import them. So, oops, I forgot to pull the file out from here. Okay, there it is. And it's a real quick fix. Putting the textures back in, just do new, click on that, and there you can select the files and make sure to rename them correctly. more to go. Okay. Now, how we reassign the textures. Okay, you make sure that textured is selected. We reassign the textures is you go to groups and you select all the ones. Okay, so hips, we know hips would use the Ayla body. Yeah, so hips, leg, waist, oops, deleted something. Where was I? Okay, so select all the ones that would use the body material, and it should be all of these. Torso, and then go to materials, body, and click assign. Okay, there we go. Now all those textures are in. And the model's going to look a little wacky with like shading and stuff, just because that's what it does when you directly import Jedi Knight 3Ds. Alright, and so do the rest. So for the head, we go head, face, face 2, sign, anyways, I think you get the idea. Okay, so now that I have all the textures assigned, I'm going to save as something else. Just as Leia 2. I mean, Ayla 2. Okay. Alright, so then we'll go to this one. And I spelled Ayla wrong. Alia. So we'll go to this Ayla. And zoom in. We actually want to delete certain meshes. You'll see why. Okay, so groups. So delete. We want to keep the hips. Left leg. We'll delete the waist. Delete the head. Left hand. Delete the arm. Do not delete that. Delete this. Face. Delete it. Delete it. Delete it. Delete it. Alright, so these are going to be the things we're going to mirror. Now there's a cool little tool in Milkshape where you go mirror all, left to right, okay, and bada bing, bada boom. It's as easy as that. So now we go File and Save As. I'm going to try something I actually haven't tried before. Oh, hold on. First, let's rename the meshes to be associated with right, as in replace all the L's with R's. Okay. Okay. Now, save as. was right side. Save. Okay. Now we'll go back to here. I want to delete the hips. Mesh and file. Merge. Right side. And there it is, except we need to move it over a little bit. Piece of cake. Go to model, move. I don't think we'd snap to grid, but select these. So we'll be moving along the x-axis, so unselect those so that it only moves along the x-axis, but first we need to deselect left hand. Alright, now we can move everything. Let's just see how this looks. Looks pretty good right there. Alright, I dig. And here is the model with the only thing left to cap, the hips. And wait, yes, no, I don't know. I made another mistake. Okay, the hips are there, they're correct. Hold on. Accidentally imported the wrong leg and hand. These ones aren't capped. So, hold on. Hold your horses. Open Alia 2. This should be a quicker method of selection. Select by group. That should be it. Delete. Alright, file, save. Forgot to do some important things, such as flipping. Rename. I'm sorry for all the mistakes I keep messing up. Mistakes I keep making. I can't even talk without making mistakes. This is the first tutorial I've ever done. Okay. So, go to Tools, Mirror All. Okay, coolio. Alright, now we can save as right side. Okay, now we'll go back to this one. This is the one that's all capped, right? Just double check. Yes, it is. Okay, cool. Alright. File, merge. Right side. Alright. That appears to be pretty good, even though we'll be moving stuff around more anyways. Alright, so now the entire model's ready to be moved around and put in a Jedi Knight, but it has to be scaled, and then we have to set up the hierarchy and stuff like that so that it'll work with the keyframes. So what we should probably do is save. So all our work is saved, and then we need to scale it down. So normally when you scale these things from their original height, you do 0.0028. That gets it pretty much right on for character models. Since we already scale it down by a factor of 20, we only have to do 0.056, which will give us the right size. Okay, scale, origin. Oh my gosh, I need to select everything. Okay, groupie. Alright, scale, there we go. Now, if you were to import what we have just right here directly into Jedi Knight, it would be character size exactly. So now what we need to do is, well, save, and then we're going to import a clone trooper model that we're going to line it up with so that the keyframe animations will work. The reason I do a clone trooper model is because it's the easiest one to line it up with. All the other player models aren't all perfectly straight like this one is, so it's the easiest to line it up with, and if you use its hierarchy, then it works perfectly. So go to the other milk shape, and we're going to file, import Jedi Knight 3D, and let's go find it. There should be one in 2014, my old Foreign Operations of the Empire folder, 3D, and I believe it's just Clone Trooper. Yes, blah blah blah. Okay, there we go. Now we have to save this as something. So we'll just call it clone. The reason we can't directly import it as a 3D object with the rest of the model is because it causes all kinds of problems, and if you were to try it out, you'd see what I mean. So this is just the best way to do it. Alright, so we go File, Merge, Clone, and you'll notice they are pretty much the same size. We just have to move some stuff around so that it lines up. And the way you do this is, you select a mesh, so we'll select probably the hand, and the forearm, and what we have to do is we have to use all these kind of tools. So rotate, so we rotate about the right angle, and let me zoom in here. It's kind of hard, it gets harder and harder to zoom in the smaller and smaller your model gets, because you're working closer to the point of origin for this editor. So rotate it and move it. Okay, we'll unlock the other grids. Rotate it, move it around just until you get it lined up. That's just kind of something you have to toy around with. Left forearm. Okay, and we're pretty close with lining up, but not quite. And here's one of the things, I can tell already it's going to be too short. So what we're going to have to do is scale it anyways. So let's get this straight again. Scale. Scale. going to, so the up and down, we want to scale it vertically, which is the y-axis in milkshake. So lock the other two grids and scale it by 1.1. Scale. That should do it. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe one more. Nah, maybe not quite 1.1. 1.05. There. That looks better. Okay, and then you just get that lined up where it was. And you replace each part until you have the entirely new model replace the clone trooper. And that'll take a while and is tedious, and I'm going to skip doing that entire part. And you want to get them lined up joint on joint as close as possible, because then that'll make the model less look weird as it goes through animations and stuff. But I'm not perfect at it, but I try and get as close as I can. So I'll do that and get back when I'm done. Alright, so I've aligned everything. Now all I have to do is delete the leftover clone trooper part, switch to start, right here. Yeah. Okay. And the arms kind of look funny at the shoulders, so I'll just rotate those in real quick. There we go, that looks better. Alright. So, that should be it. Save as final. And then one thing we haven't done yet is cap the hips in there. So we'll import this into Z. Oh, I have to export it as 3D first. That's cool. Export. Okay. Do Ayla. We'll replace Ayla.3D. Yes. Okay. File import. It is no. And bingo. There she is. Now, I'm going to cap the hips, where the hips connect to the thighs real quick. Alright, I capped the hips, or the thighs meet. And now what we have left to do is build the hierarchy. So how we do that is, let's open up another Z actually. Okay. File, import, find that clone model again. Okay. Got tools, go to 3D hierarchy and click save, and we'll go back to program files and go to the Juno folder. We'll just name it clone H. Alright, and then we go back to this first one, 3D hierarchy, go load, clone H. Now there are a few things that I know aren't supposed to be here. In fact, there might only be one. It's the K-hat, so we delete that node. And then click add missing nodes. Yeah. And we don't need that one. So we go waist, which is a child of K torso. Head helmet, which is a child of K head. Face is also a child of K head. And face 2. Okay, dangle is part of head helmet. Back is another child of the head. His head had a lot of polys, and chest is part of the torso. Alright, now I would just save this again. If I was me, which I am, so I'm going to save it. And we are almost done here. Select everything and file, export sector as 3D, save it as that. Go back to the Juno folder. We have to insert an offset so that the player's not going through the floor. 0.121. Okay, and this should be all we need. Now I'm gonna go to LucasArts Jedi Knight folder, mod, I don't know why I copied the JPEG files, now that I think about it. What I needed was the mat files. And this thing is slow. This is a snail. So, Juno. Let me go to the map. Control C. Now I'm gonna use a cog to change the Kyle, the walk player, to be Ayla instead of Kyle. So I'm just gonna go to cog, Kyle.cog, and create a new variable. Okay, and then after startup, set thing model player Ayla. Alrighty. Let's test out the model. And I did forget to change the texture back on the one part I was talking about on the neck. Basically what you do there is you just select those individual faces in Z and then reassign their textures. So it's pretty easy, pretty self-explanatory if you know how to use Z. Dun, 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 dun. There we go. There it is. Now it's kind of weird because it still makes Kyle noises. And then if we wait a little second, we can get the panorama shot. Oh, and the reason my saber changes colors is because I modified the cog so that every time you swing it or push the button, it changes color to a random saber color. It's kind of a neat little thing. Alright, do the panorama. It's not really a panorama, it's like inverted panorama. Okay, there we go. And the reason the saber is sticking through her wrist is because of some issue with nodes and stuff. I don't quite understand it, but I know there's a fix for it. And I know how to fix it, and I'll post a link to the forum that explains how to fix it so that you'll be able to do that. So there we go. That is how you convert models from Jedi Outcast or Jedi Academy and get them into Jedi Knight Dark Forces 2. And this can also go in Mysteries of the Sith. Hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I'm sorry for how long it was. That's just how long it takes to convert models. And this is also my first tutorial, so I didn't do the best job. But anyways, thanks for watching.